Ah, greetings, Internet, and my small but apparently very loyal fans on YouTube. Considering I haven't posted anything in literally years, it's amazing I've got 44 subscribers at this point. But I'm grateful for everyone. I have never in my life done an LP, although I have done a couple of demo videos which you'll find on my channel, mostly for the Old Farts clan when I was still in it. Long story short, I'm no longer one of the old farts. I'm just an old fart, generic old fart. And beyond that, and I believe one tribute to Return to Castle Wolfenstein that I did with some period music and some stills, which you can also find on the channel, I haven't really done any LPs. But I've always admired people who do them, and I've always felt that there's nothing like watching another gamer play a game to get an idea whether you might want to play it yourself. Now, this particular game, The Hobbit, is not a cinematic treatment like the Peter Jackson versions. It's a cartoon. Frankly, it's a cartoon version. But it's not Looney Tunes. Here's the protagonist, if I can get it in focus. Our man Bilbo. As it says, it's the prelude to The Lord of the Rings. The developers, Vivendi and Blizzard, if memory serves correct, had an arrangement with the Tolkien estate that they could get exclusive access to these, to the lore, the canon, if you will, on one condition, that they didn't tamper with the story. So this is very much the Hobbit book. It begins with the visit of Thorin Oakenshield and his dwarven brethren to Bilbo, the unexpected party, and it goes through their experiences in Mirkwood, including with the forest elves and the spiders. It includes Bilbo's famous encounter with Gollum, where he gets the ring, and it climaxes in the huge Battle of the Five Armies, which takes place outside of the Lonely Mountain after the dwarves have driven out Smaug. And I won't, if you haven't read the book, Smaug's the dragon. If you haven't read the book, I won't spoil it by telling you what happens to Smaug, but the dwarves do recover their underground kingdom, as it were. And the story ends with Bilbo after the Battle of the Five Armies, which is basically where the story takes up at the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring. Only that happened some, 60 years later, if I remember correctly. At any rate, it's part platformer, part RPG elements. You travel with a party of dwarves. Each of them has his own outlook on things. You have side quests, you have fetch quests, and you have quite a bit of platforming involved. You also learn combat skills. Bilbo becomes quite proficient with his walking stick, a sword, and eventually rocks, throwing rocks, which can be upgraded as well. It makes it an interesting variation on what you may have seen of Lord of the Rings. It's kind of a cross between the Bakshi cartoon version and the Peter Jackson version, with little elements of both. I'm going to fumble through it. I haven't played it since before 2003, as I recall, when I played it on the Nintendo GameCube, when I still had a GameCube. Now that I'm exclusively PC, I was overjoyed to discover that it is now available on PC. You can get it for a very nice price on eBay or Amazon or any of the other gaming sites. As I recall, you can get it for about $15 or $16. It's totally family friendly. Some of the episodes with the spiders and so forth may be a bit frightening for very young kids, but it's not gruesome, and there's no sex, and it's very pretty, very colorful, very much like the Zelda series in that sense. So let's get on with it, and I hope you enjoy it. I should point out that, like most games, the first level is very much slow. There are no enemies to fight at all. The worst thing Bilbo has to fear in this level is getting caught stealing eggs from the chickens or grabbing berries from the old man's berry patch. And but it does introduce you to the way the system works, the way the weapons change, the equipment available, opening and picking locks and so forth. And let's get on with it and see what happens. Enjoy. And here we go. You may already notice that the stereo sound is excellent in this game, especially considering it's 8 years old. This first video, since I've taken up a good portion of it with my introduction, I'm just going to play the game. I'm going to run the game through the introductory portion of it before the actual game begins. This is kind of a mashup of scenes from the game itself, or cutscenes, so that you could get a flavor for it. So if it interests you and you want to watch the next video, feel free. If not, don't. And here we go.
This is the tale of Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit with no idea of the adventures about to befall him, or their consequences.
My precious, it must know the way out! Burn the trees!